YouTube welcomes you to the following special presentation of the United States Cartoon Football League.
I've heard people say that too much of anything is not good for you, baby. But I don't know about that. As many times as we've loved and we've shared love and made love, it doesn't seem to me like it's enough. It's just not enough, baby. It's just not enough. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. My darling, I can't get enough of your love, babe. Girl, I don't know why I can't get enough of your love, babe. Lord, some things I can't get used to, no matter how I try. It's like the more you give, the more I want, and baby, that's no lie. Oh no, babe. Tell me, what can I say? What am I gonna do? How should I feel when everything is you? What kind of love is this that you're giving me? Is it in your kiss or just because you're sweet? Girl, all I know is every time you're here, I feel a change, something moving. I scream your name. Look what you got to do with, darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby. Girl, I don't know why I can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh no, babe. Girl, if I can only make you see and make you understand. Girl, your love for me is all I need, and more than I can stand. Oh, well, babe, how can I explain all the things I feel? You've given me so much, girl, you're so unreal still. I keep loving you more and more each time. Girl, what am I gonna do? 'Cause you're blowing my mind. I get the same old feeling every time you're here. I feel a change, something moving. I scream your name. Look what you got to do, and darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh no, baby. Baby, it didn't take all of my life to find you, but you can believe it's gonna take the rest of my life to keep you. Oh, man. Can't get enough of your love, baby. Girl, I don't know why. Can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh, my darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh, baby. Girl, I don't know why. I can't get enough of your love, baby. Darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby.
of love. Passion's poetry, tantalizing my mind. The sweet taste of love will always be a mystery till I can find my desire. My soul must be inspired.
And now, the USCFL Network, in association with YouTube, presents the USCFL Post-Game Show. Here's once again is Robbie Graham.
Greetings, cartoon and football fans, and happy Valentine's Day. This is the USCFL Network, and I'm your announcer of love, Robbie Graham, welcoming you as we continue the unofficial celebration of the USCFL's 45th anniversary and the continuation of the USCFL Holiday Bowl Series. If you're joining us for the first time, may we extend to you a cordial welcome. We're glad you're here. Settle in, enjoy the show, and when you get the chance, take a moment to subscribe and become part of the USCFL family. Recently, we got our 195th subscriber. Whoever you are, we thank you very, very much. Here at the USCFL, we pride ourselves on offering a different kind of experience, a respectful, family-friendly look at your favorite cartoon characters from the past and present, one that celebrates who they are without ever losing sight of the legacies that made us love them in the first place. This is a channel you can enjoy together, so let the kids watch along with you. There is nothing in our videos parents or guardians will find offensive. The USCFL is on Patreon, and you can help support us for what we do for just a few dollars a month, only pennies a day. And with your support, we can bring you more great content, future merchandise, and special perks. A small way to show your love, especially today, for America's oldest fantasy football league. Now for the main attraction, the 2026 Valentine's Day Bowl, featuring two of the newest teams in the league, the DreamWorks All-Stars, who will begin their 4th year, and the DIC All-Stars, who will begin their 3rd year this April. DreamWorks already a USCFL champion, and DIC making the playoffs in their first season, and in Sin City tonight, they will face off for only the 2nd time of their brief histories. If you don't happen to have that special someone with you tonight, don't worry. Sometimes for football fans, the love of the game will keep you company just fine. In 1 minute, we will present the highlights of the 2026 Valentine's Day Bowl between the DreamWorks All-Stars and the DIC All-Stars from Las Vegas, baby.
At 17 we fell in love, high school sweethearts. Love was so brand new. We took the vows of man and wife, forever for life. I remember how we made our way, a little patience, the times we prayed. Can't imagine that this love is through. Feeling the pain, girl, when you lose. Oh, it's too hot, too hot, too
Yeah?
Wait!
What is it?
I'm...
I love you too, honey.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Go Planet!
Welcome back to our exclusive coverage of the 2026 Valentine's Day Bowl. As a reminder, these special exhibition matches do not count towards the stats and standings for the regular season. In Las Vegas, the league's two newest teams faced each other for this match on Valentine's Day. Although this is only their second meeting, already there is no love for each other. And now with AI, we present the highlights of the 2026 Valentine's Day Bowl between the DreamWorks All-Stars and the DIC All-Stars from Las Vegas.
DreamWorks scored first as Fiona threw a 21-yard pass to Rita Malone from flushed away for the touchdown. DreamWorks leads 7-0. Three minutes later, Matai of Captain Planet connects on a 42-yard field goal. DreamWorks leads 7-3. About 30 seconds later, Jughead Jones of Archie Comics steps in front of a Fiona pass and returns it 27 yards for a touchdown. DIC takes the lead 10-7 after the first quarter. Early in the second quarter, Balthazar Hellman from Neighbors from Hell makes a 23-yard field goal to tie the game at 10. Just 7 seconds later, the fastest score in USCFL history, Staabi from Monsters vs. Aliens intercepted a sonic pass and took in from 24 yards out to lead 17-10. Less than 3 minutes later, Matai drills a 49-yard field goal as DreamWorks led 17-13. Then DreamWorks kicker went on a spree. Balthazar connects from 29 yards as DreamWorks led 20-13. Then with 51 seconds left in the half, Balthazar makes a 27-yard field goal as DreamWorks led 23-13. As time expires, Balthazar adds a 26-yard field goal. DreamWorks led 26-13 at halftime. Early in the third quarter, Miguel from the Road to El Dorado powers in from 2 yards for the touchdown. DreamWorks tried for 2 points and failed. However, they led 32-13. Six minutes later, Matai answers with a 21-yard chip shot. DreamWorks led 32-16. With about 9 minutes left, Mati kicks his fourth field goal, this time from 38 yards. DreamWorks led 32-19. More than 4 minutes later, Balthazar makes a 32-yard field goal, his 5th of the game. DreamWorks led 35-19. With under 3 minutes left, Sonic the Hedgehog throws a 7-yard touchdown pass to his castmate Knuckles. DIC tries for 2 and failed. DreamWorks held on to win 35-25.
And now, the stats for the Valentine's Day Bowl. Beginning with DreamWorks, Fiona finished 34 of 54 for 407 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Miguel rushed for 81 yards on 26 carries and 1 touchdown. Stella led the receivers as she caught 9 passes for 133 yards. Megamind led the defense with 8 tackles and 4 assists. Stabby, the player of the game, with 2 tackles, 6 assists, 1 interception, and the historic pick 6 she had in the second quarter. Balthazar Hellman finished with 17 points. For Dick, Sonic finished 35 of 51 for 356 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. Archie Andrews rushed for 48 yards on 23 carries. Guy led the receivers as she caught 9 passes for 146 yards. Reggie Mantle led the defense with 7 tackles and 2 assists. Mati finished with 13 points. We apologize for the way the camera looked in the highlight reel. And in 1 minute, we will have a special presentation as we will answer a question some Scooby-Doo fans have wondered about for over 40 years.
Daphne, now I need to talk to her.
Daphne's gone. Call me Crush.
Darn it, lady, I'm serious. Where is she?
Ugh, Fred, it's me, okay?
Oh.
Welcome back. We have a very special feature for you. When you were a kid, did you have a cartoon crush? It's okay if you did, and there is nothing to be ashamed of. There have been many characters that made boys drool and girls to get excited about. Of all the cartoon crushes, male or female, one character stood out among all of them, and that character is Daphne Blake. For nearly 60 years, any male Scooby-Doo fan will admit, as a kid, Daphne was their cartoon crush. Maybe even more so once they reach puberty. But in this special presentation we have for you isn't about that. Instead, we will answer a question that from time to time may have been asked of or thought of. And we will finally answer this question. Why did Daphne return to the series in 1983 and not Fred or Velma? To understand the answer, we need to go back to 1979. By this point, Scooby-Doo had been on television for a full decade. The series had moved from CBS to ABC in 1976. And while it remained a recognizable name, ratings were beginning to slip. Viewers were discovering new shows, and the franchise was clearly searching for a way to stay relevant. That search led Hanna-Barbera to introduce a new character, Scrappy-Doo, Scooby's nephew. The idea was simple: inject energy, attitude, and a new dynamic into the show. But the plan didn't unfold the way it was hoped. After the 1979 season, Fred, Daphne, and Velma were quietly removed from the series. What remained were Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy, now starring in 7-minute shorts that abandoned the mystery format entirely, replacing it with fast-paced slapstick comedy. For the next 3 years, that version of Scooby-Doo became the norm. Then came the fall of 1983. Viewers tuning in to ABC expecting more of the same. But from the moment the opening credits rolled, something felt different. The Mystery Machine appeared on screen, and behind the wheel was a familiar face. Daphne had returned. In this special feature, we will finally ask and answer a nearly 43-year-old question. Why Daphne? Why was she the one brought back into the series when Fred and Velma were not? The answer may surprise you. This is not a player profile we're doing, but instead to give Daphne fans an even better reason to love her.
Why Daphne Blake was brought back to television, and why it could not have been Fred or Velma. When Daphne Blake returned to Scooby-Doo television in 1983, it marked one of the most important creative course corrections in the franchise's history. This decision is often misunderstood as nostalgia or fan demand. In reality, Daphne's return was a structural necessity. The show had reached a point where it could no longer function properly without her. To understand why, it's essential to understand what Scooby-Doo had become by the early 1980s and what it had lost: a franchise out of balance. During the scrappy-heavy era, the series leaned aggressively into noise, confrontation, and constant forward motion. Scrappy-Doo became the engine of the show, responsible not only for energy, but for conflict itself. This worked briefly, but it came at a cost. The tone became harsher. The pacing became exhausting. Most importantly, the group dynamic collapsed. The mysteries didn't feel clever anymore. They felt rushed. What the show lacked was a humanizing force, someone who could absorb tension rather than amplify it. That role had always belonged to Daphne. Without Daphne, Scrappy was forced to dominate the emotional space of the show. With her return, Scrappy's behavior noticeably softened. He became less aggressive, less abrasive, and less dependent on shouting to create momentum. Daphne's presence diluted Scrappy's dominance and restored equilibrium to the group dynamic. Conflict no longer had to be manufactured. It emerged naturally again. Why Daphne, specifically? The critical mistake many analyses make is assuming that Fred or Velma could have filled this role. They could not. Velma is intellect, she explains, she decodes, she solves after the fact. Her role depends on stability and time, two things the show no longer had. Fred is authority. He plans, he directs, he leads from the front. But authority without balance becomes rigid, and Fred alone cannot soften chaos. He organizes it. Daphne, by contrast, is instinct. She reacts. She adapts. She moves the story forward when logic or planning stalls. She bridges comedy and danger, competence and warmth, courage and vulnerability. Daphne doesn't replace Fred or Velma. She makes them functional again. This is why her post-1983 evolution matters so much. Daphne was no longer portrayed as passive or ornamental. She became capable, decisive, and situationally aware. Not louder, not colder, just more complete. Narratively, she became what can best be described as Batman adjacent. Not the smartest person in the room, not the strongest, but the one whose instincts keep everything from falling apart. The return of agency, one of the most important, and most overlooked symbols of Daphne's return, is the Mystery Machine. After 1983, Daphne is finally shown driving it. This is not incidental. The Mystery Machine represents direction, agency, and control over the story's movement. For years, it functioned almost exclusively as Fred's domain. Daphne driving it is a visual declaration that she has reclaimed independence and leadership. It fulfills a long implied idea within the franchise that the van was always meant for her. In many ways, it symbolically restores what had been taken from the character over time: autonomy, competence, and purpose. She is no longer along for the ride. She is choosing the path, why the timing matters. Daphne's return also aligned with a broader shift in television storytelling. Audiences were aging, cartoons were becoming more action-oriented, characters were expected to carry emotional weight, not just fill archetypes. Daphne was uniquely suited to this transition. She could ground heightened situations without draining their energy. She could be brave without being domineering. She could lead without commanding. Her presence made danger feel adventurous again instead of overwhelming. It restored the sense that the gang wasn't just reacting to chaos, they were navigating it together. The core truth: Daphne Blake was not brought back because the show needed another familiar face. She was brought back because Scooby-Doo no longer worked without her. She rebalanced the group dynamic. She softened excess aggression. She restored emotional logic to the mysteries. She reclaimed agency and leadership without losing warmth. Daphne didn't return to be rescued. She returned because she was the missing piece that made everything else function. Was there pressure, a campaign, or a cultural push? When Daphne Blake returned to Scooby-Doo television in 1983, it is tempting to assume a dramatic behind-the-scenes story. A fan campaign, network pressure, feminist influence, or a ratings emergency. The reality is both less sensational and more revealing. There is no documented evidence of a formal writing campaign demanding Daphne's return. There is no record of ABC or Hanna-Barbera being publicly pressured by advocacy groups. None exists here. Daphne's return was not reactive to external noise. It was internally motivated. Were ABC or Hanna-Barbera pressured? Again, no, at least not in the overt sense. ABC did not issue public complaints demanding Daphne's reinstatement, and Hanna-Barbera did not respond to visible backlash. However, that does not mean there was no pressure at all. The pressure was structural, not political. By the early 1980s, Scooby-Doo had been simplified to the point of instability. The scrappy dominant format was loud, fast, and relentless, but it was also brittle. It lacked elasticity. Episodes could move, but they couldn't breathe. From a production standpoint, this creates a problem. Writers lose tonal range. Characters become repetitive. Conflict has to be forced instead of emerging organically. That kind of pressure doesn't come from protest. It comes from creative fatigue. Did the women's movement play a role? Indirectly, but not programmatically. By 1983, the women's movement had already reshaped television expectations. Female characters were no longer expected to exist solely as accessories, prizes, or victims. However, Daphne was not redesigned to respond to feminism. She was reframed to align with where storytelling already was. This distinction matters. Daphne didn't suddenly become militant, didactic, or ideological. Instead, traits that had always existed in her courage, intuition, and initiative were allowed to function openly and consistently. In other words, the cultural shift didn't create Daphne's evolution. It removed the barriers that had previously limited her. Were ratings slipping further? Here's the critical nuance. There is no clear evidence of a catastrophic ratings collapse immediately before Daphne's return. But that doesn't mean ratings were healthy. Children's television at the time was becoming more competitive, and Scooby-Doo was no longer setting trends, it was chasing them. The scrappy-centric approach produced energy, but not longevity. Viewers weren't necessarily tuning out en masse, but the show was losing depth, which is often a leading indicator of future decline. Networks don't wait for a free fall. They adjust when something stops scaling. Daphne's return added narrative scalability, more story types, more emotional tones, more character interactions, more ways to resolve tension without shouting. That's a preventative correction, not a panic move. The real reason Daphne returned. Daphne was brought back because the show had become unbalanced, not politically, not ideologically, not nostalgically, structurally. Without her, Scrappy had to carry emotional momentum alone. Conflict had to be exaggerated. Mysteries became mechanical instead of exploratory. With her return, Scrappy softened noticeably. Group dynamics stabilized. The tone recalibrated. Stories regained flexibility. Daphne functioned as the missing stabilizer, the character who absorbs chaos instead of amplifying it. The final truth. Daphne Blake was not brought back because people demanded her. She was brought back because Scooby-Doo quietly stopped working without her. No campaign was needed. No protest was required. No memo had to be leaked. The creative structure itself made the decision inevitable. And now sit back and enjoy a special USCFL TV music video showing Daphne in this light as confident and no longer just eye candy or getting captured. This was a question that took more than 40 years to answer. But we at the USCFL network felt it was about time. After the video, we will preview the next holiday bowl game.
So how much is that anyway?
How much is what?
I'm still browsing, Alphonse. If I need your help, I'll come and ask you, okay?
There's something strange about that lady.
falling through trapdoors, finding dangerous secret passageways, and getting caught in overly complicated booby traps of our own design. The one thing we Blakes have been known for is being, how shall I put this, danger-prone. What?
Stunning
architecture. Love the gargoyle.
Nothing.
With all my heart, I love you, baby. Stay with me, and you will see my arms will hold you, baby. Never leave, 'cause I believe I'm in love. Sweet love, help me crawling out your line. I feel no shame, I'm in love. Sweet love.
Join us next month when more than 100 of your favorite female cartoon characters come together in the 2026 International Women's Day game on March 8th as the USCFL will return to Denver for the first time since 2023. And until then, this is Robbie Graham of the USCFL Network wishing you peace. Take care, stay safe, and let the love for that special someone make it Valentine's Day all year round.
This has been a webcast of the United States Cartoon Football League on YouTube and is intended for the viewing and listening pleasure of our audience. All cartoons seen and music heard are copyrights of their respected owners. They were used for the purpose of entertainment and education, and therefore no breach of copyright laws were intended. This is a copyrighted feature, and any rebroadcast or re-uploading of this webcast without express written permission of the United States Cartoon Football League is prohibited.
YouTube thanks you for watching this special presentation of the United States Cartoon Football League.
This has been a First and 10 production,